day 3.
We had Doomsday 1.
No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, both in his country and of course.
Praying for safety and got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just gotta say, when it comes to mortality,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
And this guy gets on you.
Father from and then I go to bed every night like G man, I promise you that we got a special man. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here, hunkered down. Is that what they call hunkered down in a hotel room down in South Georgia? Hopefully you guys are doing good, man. Kelly and I, we weren't able to get a show last week, so I said, no matter what, we got to get a show. So welcome, everyone. Appreciate you guys coming to the cave. We're going to have some fun with this show tonight. Before we get rolling, of course, you got to hit that like, the subscribe, the share. And I'm going to turn something over to Kelly, but just to give you guys a little tidbit of a couple things. You know, I've been playing a couple videos of Kevin Gogan, Big Nasty. He's going to be coming in the cave probably right after the draft. We're going to get some interviews going to fill some time before we get back to training camp. We got some other interviews scheduled as well. We're doing a live draft. Eugene Lockhart's going to be in. We might have some special surprise guests popping in and out, kind of like we did last time. So definitely, if you hadn't subscribed to the channel yet, you're new, you're checking it out, what the hell are you waiting for? But another reason why you want to subscribe, Kelly got a great guest for next week. So Kelly, man, hopefully you're doing well. First of all, hello. And tell us about what we got going on next week.
Hello and welcome back, and good to see all you people filling in the chat here. It's just good to be back, even though it was just a 1 week layoff. It feels like it was a long time without seeing you guys and seeing your face, Mike, and seeing everybody in the chat. But next week we got a good guest. She's actually a co-host on a show. It's EW Sportscast. EW Podcast, I should say. EW Podcast. It's EWW Podcast, but they say EW Podcast. I have watched it. I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly. I'm not saying EWW, but it's the EW Podcast. It's Spencer Hayes. She is a Dallas Cowboys fan. She also covers Denver Nuggets basketball. Actually lives up in Denver and has developed a little bit of an affinity also to the Denver Broncos. So that'll be kind of an interesting little side deal. She's kind of a little bit on two teams there, but got a great podcast. They cover a lot of basketball, her and her co-host. But we're all about, the outreach and branching out and getting other people's podcasts in here, as well as growing our female audience. Because I've looked at the analytics. It's about 99% guys up in here. We want to encourage the females to come in here. And not only
we don't want a sausage fest no more, Kelly.
Well, not just to learn and talk about football, but also, just to feel like that you could be accepted into. This ain't a fraternity of just guys, because girls have really good takes. Women have good takes on football. And good opinions too. So we want to kind of broaden our horizon here, but we've got a good guest. She's going to be good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, as well as I will also be announcing the fan of the month. We're going to actually do that. I didn't have it all put together. I had a spreadsheet. I did not bring it home and put it into the blender. So I'm actually going to do it this next week. I'll do it before the show, or I might actually do it on the show when we have Spencer on. So I'll do that. We are going to have whoever our winner is. You're going to be a guest, and you're going to be invited onto the draft show. We're doing the draft, so you're lucky. That's going to be a lucky win. Might be the best fan of the month yet, because you get to be on for the live draft show. You can stay on for an hour. You can stay on for the whole thing. It's up to you, but we're going to be covering the draft live. And 2 weeks away, man. It's right around the corner. So coming up, big things coming.
And you got to be talking to Eugene Lockhart and maybe some other people. So yeah, I'll say a parental advisory. We got to put a sticker label on that if you're dealing with Eugene the Hit Machine, because you don't know what's going to be coming out of his mouth. So another reason to definitely enter, because that's going to be a fun when we got our live draft show. It's going to be great, and we still got to do our mock draft. We got to figure out when we do that, because I got all our guys, so we're going to do our mock draft. But hey, we're going to do kind of this is just a fun show. We want your interaction. But my man Kelly tweeted out and kind of, piqued my interest talking about these Dallas Cowboys. And he said they're worse. I mean, this team is worse than they were last year. Roster is worse. Not feeling good about the season. We all know he hopes he's wrong. We'd love that Kelly to eat his words. I have a slightly different. Mine might have an asterisk by it, because there's some things that need to happen for me to be all in. But I think this roster is better. And so we are going to break it down. And maybe what we'll do, Kelly, we'll go back and forth by position group. And that way we'll break it down by each level, right? So we'll do quarterback, receiver, running back, offensive line, and then we'll do the defensive line, linebackers, secondary, special teams. That's not any different. We don't waste our time with that. I think we both agree we're right where we were last year. So, but want to get your guys' takes, want to get your guys' opinion. So, Kelly, since you stirred the pot a little bit and on social media with it, maybe give an opening statement. This is gonna be like we're in the courtroom. So, give your opening remarks of where you see the Cowboys, just a 30,000-foot view.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I come before you here today to plead my case for this Dallas Cowboys team. And it is a sad day for me, because I find no joy in what I'm about to do here. I find no joy. But what I'm going to do is, at the end of this, I'm going to have you probably not feeling the most positive. Unless Mike can sway your opinion, you might not be feeling the most positive after this, because what I am going to put in front of you is some factual evidence on how this Dallas Cowboys team has continued to operate, as they have just led us down this endless spiral of hopelessness and despair as we go towards the season. All we have is the Jerry Jones Kool-Aid, and I will remind you that at one time, I believe it was in Johannesburg, there was a cult of a man who made a bunch of people drink Kool-Aid, and they all ended up dead. So I'm telling you right now, don't drink the Kool-Aid, because it's tainted. I don't look at this Cowboys team as gotten better. I feel like that the Dallas Cowboys, they've made a lot of moves. Listen, there will be arguments made here today that will tell you that the Cowboys have moved differently and that they've been aggressive, and they've made a lot of moves. Making many moves does not equate to good moves. And we will get into that as this show goes on. But I feel right now, as it stands currently, that if we were going back to the beginning of last year, Dak Prescott healthy.
Now we're adding different caveats here. Okay. We're adding caveats.
No, I'm just going to say, because obviously at the end of the year, with a non-healthy Dak Prescott having a healthy quarterback makes all the difference. So that's the only caveat I'd add. I'm just going to say, with a healthy Dak Prescott, the beginning of last year, that roster, I believe, was significantly better than the roster we will field in this season. And I say that knowing that the draft hasn't happened yet, but I will say, even with the draft, I do not believe we will end up with a better roster. When it's all said and done, when we start training camp, I think this roster still is actually a little bit worse than we were last year.
Okay. Well, I respect that. And you guys know your boy Tag gonna bring hype. We're gonna get this thing rolling. So I will sway you guys. I will sway Kelly. I mean, I'm pretty confident in it. And the caveat he said, which was honestly, intrigues me, Dak Prescott healthy, that, he's looking at it at the early season. Well, Dak Prescott healthy, the team doesn't win 7 games. They're going to win more than 7 games. So right off the bat, it doesn't really bode well there. So the team would have been better. I'm going to show you evidence of how I think this team got better, because we have superstars. You've got Dak, you've got CD, you've got Parsons, you've got now Osa, you've got the big dogs. This team needed some dogs. This team needed some attitude and some football players. And I think that's what the free agency did. The asterisk I'll put is the draft. The draft for me is going to be key, and we'll get into that. But we're going to get it started, and I'm going to let Kelly. Do you want to start with offense or defense? Where do you want to start? And then we'll finish with the other. Where do you want to start? Did I lose you?
Well, I can start offense.
There you go. Off. Oh, you're going to go offense. Okay. So position group on offense.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Offense. Yeah. Let's start offense. You got me?
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to change something real quick.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead. I just had to switch something. Go ahead.
All right. All right. So we'll go offense, and I will start out with the quarterback position, and I will say at the quarterback position, I think that we got better. And the reason I'll say that is because I think that Joe Milton has way more upside than Cooper Rush. I think he's more athletic. I think he's got a huge arm strength, 100% better, mobility better, like everything top to bottom better. So at the quarterback position, I'll say we got better right there. What do you think?
I think that's an easy one. I think you got a healthy Dak Prescott. You didn't get a healthy. Now, I think what Kelly and I are both going to say, let's just end this here. We're talking about the team being healthy for the season. Obviously, catastrophic injuries like we faced last year could change the team in any direction. But let's just talk health to health. I think the quarterback position got better, and obviously Dak Prescott coming back healthy is a big, obviously a plus. But I agree with you. I think Joe Milton is going to be a kid to watch. My son is really high on him. He's got some experience, right? He's already he's not a rookie anymore. He's played in a game. I believe it was Buffalo. I think he played in, if my memory's right, played pretty well. So I think what they were going to draft a quarterback, giving up. This is where you got to give Cowboys a little kudos. They don't really trade well. Usually we get screwed. I think they actually did a very good job giving up a 5th, getting back the 7th, and getting Milton. So I agree with you. I think the quarterback position is definitely better. That's easy. So now go ahead, Kelly.
All right.
You froze up.
Now let's hit. Let's go ahead. I might have to switch to my phone.
Switch to your phone. Switch to your phone for a quick second.
I'll say what.
And what I'll do is,
let me try this.
We're
Give me
gonna
1 sec here.
Kelly's gonna switch right quick, and then we're gonna get back on. But for the next position group, hopefully Kelly will hear me. If he can't, then I'm gonna maybe steal his thunder. Is running back. I think Dallas is better at running back. I think the Cowboys, what they added with Sanders, what they added with Williams, the asterisk I put on that is drafting a running back. Very important. If the Cowboys do not draft a running back, I think we're right back where we started. And we're right back where we started is no playmaker at running back. I mean, Williams is younger than Rico, but he's coming off some injuries. He probably has more upside than Rico, but the injuries are going to kill him. Miles Sanders was obviously good in Philly, signed the contract to go to Carolina, and he's been in the doghouse there. So he's really had no playing time. So I don't know what to expect from him. But the most important thing is the running back position. The Cowboys have got to address the running back position in the draft. Now, whether they do that with their first pick, second pick, third pick, they better not go past the third. Third round better be about where it stops for the running backs. I think the running back class is deep. I think if they get a running back, any running back they get in the first 3 rounds is an upgrade over what they have today and what they had last year, more importantly. So that's my views on running back. I don't know. You guys. There we go. You guys. There. It's you there? You back? There you go.
Yeah. All right. Got me?
You're good? All right. Kelly, you're back. There you go. Looking good. What is the what's your
Can you hear me?
Hear me on my running backs? Well, we're having a tough show here. This was supposed to be guys of hype. Where you at, Kelly?
Can't hear.
Wow. Man, see, Kelly's a coward. He's afraid. He knew I was going to chew him up one side and spit him out the back. And that's what happens when he gets it. I don't know who's producing this, SoCal. I might need to get a new producer.
All right.
There he is.
There
Kelly's
we go.
back. Can you hear me?
There we go. I got you. I can hear you.
All right. So you heard my take on running back.
So at running back,
It's hard for me. It's hard for me to say that right now. I like both of those. I think I like Miles. I think I like Miles Sanders, and I like Javonte Williams better as a goal line back. However, if they were to go into the season with either one of those dudes as the number one running back, I think it would be bad. It would be bad. But I'm going to just go out and I'll say right now, I will say that spot, I'm gonna give it an even. I'm not gonna say it's better.
Let me ask you this, because you probably didn't hear me. I think this is one of my asterisks. If they don't draft a running back, would you agree if they draft a running back within the first 3 rounds, it's an upgrade? They're better than they were last year. The running back class is that good, in my opinion. If they get one in the first 3 rounds, and you got Williams and you got Sanders, I think the running back position is better.
I think that I think that they do have a chance to be better at running back. Okay. I do think they have a chance to be better. Yeah.
All right. So far, the quarterback is better, and we're going to just put an asterisk that we drafted running back. The running backs are better. Now, I'll allow you to talk about the wide receivers.
All right. Now, wide receiver right now, I'm going to say that we're worse. I'm going to say we're worse off. I don't think we have a number 2 right now. And I think right now what we have is a bunch of cast-offs, and I'll be honest with you. I don't just think that we need wide receiver 2. I think we could probably get a wide receiver 3. There's not any wide receiver on our team right now that I like outside of CeeDee Lamb. Okay. I mean, Kevontae Turpin could possibly be utilized more. Obviously, maybe they put him into the game plan a little bit more, but until I actually see it, I'm not going to sit here and say that, yes, that they're better at wide receiver. I'd say right now they're significantly worse. I'd say that they need at least 1, possibly even 2 receivers.
Okay. So we obviously agree CeeDee Lamb's top 3, whatever you want to say, top 4, whatever you can take one of the top receivers. I think we both agree we don't have a wide receiver 2. I think Tolbert could be a good wide receiver 3. I think that's kind of what his ceiling is in this offense. I think we talked about Turpin, and Turpin is a guy that is going to get utilized more in the offense. I think just listen to Shoddy, listening to what they say, he's going to get there. So the problem is 2. Now, here's my next asterisk. If the Cowboys take a wide receiver with the 12th pick, they're more than likely going to get no worse than the top 2, maybe 3 prospect in the draft. Now, I did a video, and I say that Egbuka is probably the most polished NFL kind of. His ceiling may not be the highest, but I think he is the most polished, and he's got a dog mentality. He played a national championship. He had to compete at a high level at Ohio State constantly, not only for his position, but going up against the top cornerbacks and top guys at that school. So I'm hoping they get him. But if they were to get T-Mac, if they were to get Burden, if they were going to get Golden, would you say the wide receivers, if they draft a wide receiver in the first round, how confident are you in the wide receivers just with that addition? Over last year, you had Brandon Cooks was our wide receiver 2.
I would say that we could. I would say that we could end up being better. I would feel a lot more confident if they draft a wide receiver in the first round. If they get a guy and they draft a wide receiver, Ted McMillan, I like. They trade back maybe and get a Golden at Buka. I like either one. I like really all 3 of those guys. Luther Burden, even possibly. I like those. Jalen Tolbert. I'm not counting on Jalen.
Mingo, I forgot all about Mingo. He's got a full off season, but I'm going to put an incomplete on him because I didn't, not to his fault. I mean, he got traded and he got stuck with Cooper Rush. So we'll put an incomplete on him. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel better about the wide receiver position if we drafted a wide receiver in the first round.
Okay.
For sure.
So far we agree each position. Now the draft is critical, and you're going to come back with some draft stuff. I know you got a trick up your sleeve because I'm banking everything on the draft. So draft is key. Now offensive line. Better or worse? I will take this one and let you respond. I don't think it's better or worse. I think it's going to be the same. I think what you're going to get is another year of Guyton. Hopefully he takes a jump, but I'm not going to say he's going to be better because we don't know. I think BB take a jump. You got Hoffman. Obviously you've got Steele, who was a middle of the road. If you believe PFF, he was a middle of the road right tackle, not an all-pro, not a Pro Bowler, but you don't need Pro Bowlers at every position in the offensive line. So I think he's going to be the same as he was as he finished the last year. So I think it's even. I think it's the same as last year. And they're going to say, well, what about Martin? Because you talked about Martin being healthy, but I think Martin was kind of on his downside. And I dare say the offensive line looked better when he was out. And it's no knock on Martin. He's a Hall of Famer, but sometimes, we talk about Gogan, and we're going to have him on. So, we're going to ask him this question, but you talk about the offensive line, and sometimes it's just guys that are coming up together that have that, they get that cohesiveness, they kind of get that bond. And maybe that is something that you saw later on in this offense, because the offensive line did get better. I don't know your opinion on the line. Where are you at with it?
I agree with you right there. I think the offensive line, I would say that they're the same. The strength of this offensive line, what concerns me, not concerns me, I guess, it would probably be a good thing. I think the strength of this offensive line last year was run blocking. They're better at run blocking than they are pass blocking. So if Schottenheimer holds true to what he's saying and he really wants to run the ball, then I think that, then that's going to be a good thing. Now, that being said, I know that Steele, there was somebody that I think it was Defy on Twitter there had posted some stats about Terrence Steele and showed that he was graded really well as a run blocking, right tackle. He was one of the better run blockers, right tackle in the league. But, you really want to get a guy that can do both. You don't want to just solely rely on your guys and say, hey, I'm going to lean on this guy because he's a run blocker. This is what he does, run block. You get to play to your player's strengths, but at some point you're going to have to get better. Terrence Steele, if he's going to be the right tackle for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward, he's going to have to get better at pass protection. So I'd say right now that offensive line is the same.
Yeah. And you know what can make the offensive line better? Kelly? What's that? Drafting a damn good running back. You and I talked to Gogan about that as well. And, I've replayed some of the clips because he's coming on, but that was one that got a lot of attention when he was talking about, is it the running back or is it the offensive line? And the running back can help make that offensive line look even better. And I think the problem you have with Rico is he wasn't putting fear in anyone's eyes. I mean, no disrespect to Rico. I think, he's a solid kind of guy, solid running back, but he's not putting fear in any defense. So I think that's the other thing. So if we draw this up, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to let you to respond because it sounds like you say the offense with the draft of getting a receiver and a running back, if we got to agree that has to happen, you say the offense is better than last year.
Yeah, I think they have the chance to be, for sure.
Okay, so sounds like you're saying the defense is going to be the Achilles heel of this team to hold them back. So now this is where I got my work cut out because I don't have a ton of ammo for this, but we're going to flip it to the defense. And I will let you start with the position group that you want. You could start at the back end of the defense or just start right in the front.
Well, let's start with the defensive backs. We'll start with DBs. Then I'm going to go right off the bat and say they got worse. Jordan Lewis left. That was a pretty big hit. I mean, he was a great talent, one of the better slot cornerbacks in the league. I think they got worse. I think that you've got Diggs coming back from yet another knee injury. We don't know what he's going to be yet. We're hoping that he comes back to form, but you're talking about a position that relies on speed, quick movements, shifty, like, being able to, like, having two bum knees for a DB, even though he's still fairly young, it's not an ideal situation. So I know we've got a lot of young guys in the back end of the roster that the Cowboys are hoping to develop, but rosters aren't really built on hope. They're built on, they're built on guys that you either know are good or that you have seen do it, and you're like, now it's time for this young man to get an opportunity. I really don't see that on our defensive backs. I don't really see them guys back there. I think the Cowboys could possibly draft a defensive back in this draft. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love them to go wide receiver in the first round. I could see them drafting a defensive back as high as round 2. I don't think they'll do it in round 1, but I think they'll draft one in round 2.
Yeah, I would hope. I'm not even opposed to round 1. Now that would mess with the receivers. So
Right.
there's a trade-off, right? You're gonna take a dip at receiver, but I can't argue with you. I think the secondary is worse. I think the safeties are going to be about the same. I don't think they didn't really upgrade, but they didn't downgrade. But what you said about J. Lou, what you said about Diggs, and not only the injuries, the mental part. Is he going to be able to recover mentally, from
Right.
these injuries? That's somewhat. Bland, I think, will be fine. But I think everyone on the channel, I think everyone who's a Cowboys fan, they don't look at Bland as kind of a shutdown corner. I mean, he's opportunistic. He gets beat, but he makes some plays, right? He's a risk taker. He's a solid 2, but I don't think anyone is going to be overly confident with him. If he had to be the DB1, the cornerback 1 that's covering the best receivers. And if you look at our schedule and what we've got, it's going to be a problem. So if the Cowboys don't address that, and there's not much left, I don't know what else is out there in free agency at a cornerback position. That's where, thankfully you agree the offense is better because it might be a shootout.
No, they're. I mean, I think that they're going to have to. Unfortunately, I think this offense is going to have to win games in spite of their defense. Next position group, let's just move it up. Let's go with the linebackers. I'm going to say they got significantly worse. Again,
significantly worse.
And the reason why I say that, your 2 best linebackers last year, Demario Overshown and Eric Kendricks. Those were your 2 best linebackers.
Yep.
Demario Overshown is probably not going to see the field this year. And if you're counting on that and banking on him to make the linebackers better, then, I mean, that's a pretty large reach, I think. I honestly don't think he sees the field next year.
So you think what he's saying is kind of just, he's just trying to.
I think he's being very positive. I like that he's being positive. But look, let me just say, in Maurice Leofau, he showed some flashes last year, right? Yeah. Played 520 snaps, but his run defense grade was pretty abysmal. It was 157th of 189 ranked linebackers, 55.2 grade, not good. And that was out of 520 snaps. He was just as bad in his his overall grade was 153rd of 189. Now, these are PFF grades. I don't hang everything on PFF grades, but I'm just going to say he was great. He was not graded out well, and he was not great in run defense. Kenneth Murray Jr. we grabbed from the Titans, right? Played 815 snaps last year. In run defense, he was graded 185th out of 189. Almost dead last among
and how the Titans are what pick are the Titans this year?
They're picking up there, but
they're picking the first.
If you look at him and look at his play just since he's been drafted, I mean, there's a reason why they weren't, trying to hold on to him and why they were willing to part ways with him. He has not been good. He has been consistently bad. Now, I know a lot of people. Now, here's the thing: is where people will start to sell you this hope, this dream of hope, is that Eberflus can get something out of Kenneth Murray Jr. That's, again, you're talking about a guy who has not shown it on the field. In his years that he's been playing here in the NFL, he has shown to be a subpar, below average linebacker. So if you're throwing him out in this, I don't think he'll be one of our starting linebackers. I think it's going to be Leofau. I think Damone Clark. And I think unless we draft a good rookie that shows out, I think probably Sanborn will be your other guy that's out there starting. But Jack Sanborn, again, he's another one, right? I'm looking at him. He is one of the more promising ones that has shown some upside. But last year, he only played 235 snaps. So he has not shown it over the course of an entire season that he can be consistent. He's shown signs of it, but he was not Chicago's starter. He wasn't their bell cow linebacker. It's not like we got some all-star and this is a great deal. Now, I will say his run defense is where he has excelled. His overall grade, decent. You know, it's not bad. It's not great. But his run defense is where he did excel. It was the best out of any linebacker currently that we actually have on the squad right now. Then you've got Damone Clark. Last year, he only played 163 snaps. He also was pretty good in run defense. He was graded out at a 68th, which is 70 best. It was 78th of 189 linebackers. So that's not too bad, right? But when you look at Eric Kendricks last year was actually in run defense was graded at a 78. It was 33rd of 189. He was our best run defender, better than Overshown. He was our best linebacker, period, last year in how he played. And he is no longer with us. Now, Cowboys went out. He's still a free agent. He's still out there. They could still get him. If they did bring him back, I'd feel a little bit better about this linebacker group. But right now, as it stands, I'm not sold on this linebacker group. I think that it's a pretty weak group. It's lacking a lot of experience, and you're going to need to have a big jump from Leofau, and you're going to need to have a two unproven guys in Damone Clark and Sanborn come out there and play a full season at least at a average level for them to be pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I gotta agree with my man Slick Rick here. I don't think they're worse. I think they're about the same. I think you're underestimating Murray. 5 years in the NFL, he's been a starter for 5 years. He ain't shit. He ain't lasting 5 years in the NFL starter at linebacker if he sucked. So I think he's of a shitty team. I mean, the Titans suck. They're not any good. But
Jalen Smith played 7 years in the NFL, and he was
Jalen Smith was good. I mean, people give him shit.
He was
good. The injuries to their toll.
Yeah, he wasn't bad for, I'd say, probably about maybe 2 to 3 seasons. He was never to the caliber that we drafted him at. I'll say that.
No. The knee was never. I mean, that knee injury in the Outback Bowl. I mean,
yeah. When I look at the overall experience in this linebacker group, I look at you're going to be rolling out Sanborn, who's got snaps, but he has never actually been a full-time starter. You're going to talk about rolling out Damone Clark, who has never been a full-time starter, and you're starting throwing out Maurice Leofau, who has not been a full-time starter. So you're talking about 3 linebackers who have not started for a full season and have not proven what they could be. Now, Kenneth Murray, I think he's a depth guy. I don't think he's one of your starters. I don't think you're rolling him out as a starter. Maybe he wins the job, but I think your 3 guys. I think it's Sanborn, Leofau, and Damone Clark. But again,
I think Damone Clark should be on the team. I think he's your guy. He's not going to be on the team.
I think that if you had, I think that they probably draft the linebacker. To be honest with you, I'm less than impressed with our linebacker crew to say the least. I think that when Overshown comes back, if Overshown was healthy, I'd feel totally different about this group, because I think that if you have one solid linebacker, one really good linebacker that plays like him, it elevates the play of the guys around you. We've seen it before many times where you've got one really good linebacker and he elevates the play of the other 2 guys. And that's what it takes. I don't think we have that right now. And I think that where we need them to be strong, we need run stoppers in that second line of defense, because we're about to get to the most weakest position group in my position of the whole team. But when your defensive tackles are weak up front, I think your linebackers need to be solid in the back end. We don't have that. These guys are better pass rushers than they are run stoppers, and that's just going based off of their previous history. Now, will a different system in Eberflus that he's going to be running, will that help them at all? That's to be seen. I'm not going to say that Eberflus can't maybe get something more out of these guys that another coach or a couple other defensive coordinators couldn't. I'm just not pinning my ears and pinning my hopes on that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think the linebackers are about the same. I think Overshown will play. I don't think he's gonna. I'm not banking on it. So that's why I'm saying I don't think they're going to be better. If he was playing, I think the linebackers would be better. I think what they got is an upgrade over what they had if they had Overshown. They don't have him. So I think they're going to be the same. I think you're underestimating Murray. I think you are. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's a superstar, but remember what I told you. We got plenty of superstars. I need football players. I need guys that are going to get it done and put a hat on somebody and play with some tenacity. And I think they've got enough. They got enough glam. We need the lunch pail guys, and I think the linebackers they got are that. Now, again, I don't think you got Pro Bowlers in there. I don't think there's going to be all pros in there. I think they're going to draft. I think 100%. I think they're going to draft, but I don't think unless they get a guy in the first round, which I definitely don't think they're going to take a linebacker in the first round. I mean, I don't think you're going to get a big impact guy that's going to make that big of a difference. So, I mean, they're hanging their hat in hopes on Overshown coming back. They gave him his 0, which I don't understand all the hoopla. I guess, I don't know the whole number. Like the guy got 0, so everyone goes crazy. I don't understand it. I think it's cool or whatever, but it's like I made the comment. I made it, I love that the guy got the number, and this is no knock on him, but I don't need DallasCowboys.com printing shirts and jerseys, making this big deal. Let's put some stuff together to get that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's focus. Let's quit focusing on marketing and focus on football. So that's where I'll give you on some of the moves that they made in the offseason. I think they were solid moves, but they could have addressed a linebacker, to your point. They could have addressed a cornerback. So I'm kind of in agreement with you so far on the defense, but I would say I don't think the linebackers are as bad as you think.
Yeah. Well, and we did fail to mention they did get Kyer Elam from Buffalo in a trade as well. He's the DB who will get an opportunity this year. But on that back end, but I don't, again, it's just none of the guys that they got are I mean, you had guys out there that were free agents, like you had Nick Bolton, linebacker from the Kansas City Chiefs, who I would have been thrilled to get. I mean, Eric Kendricks, a guy that I would have brought back, that I would still bring back to this group, that played at a pretty high level last year, especially in run defense. There were linebackers out there that I felt that they could have got that they would not have had to actually trade for. They traded for Kenneth. They wouldn't have had to trade for. They could have went them out. They could have picked them up. And in my opinion, might have cost you a little bit more money, but that they would have played it a little. They would have been playing at a higher level than kind of what we have right now. Whereas right now we're kind of like, well, now we got to go draft one. We gotta hope that this guy pans out. We gotta hope this, and we talked about this in the offseason. You don't want to go into the season hoping that things work out, because how many times have we seen the Cowboys do that where it's backfired? I mean, they threw Tyler Guyton out at left tackle last year, hoping that he could, take his lumps and get better as the season went on. Well, it didn't. It got progressively worse to the point where they had to pull him out because, I mean, the guy had pretty much lost his confidence. Now, I'm not saying that Tyler Guyton won't eventually be a serviceable offensive lineman in the future, but I mean, he was a guy that right now kind of looks like a little bit of a whiff. He needed to be developed more. In the past, the first round guys that we've got for the offensive line, they've been throw them in day one starter. Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, Trey Frederick. So in that ilk, he's been a little bit of a disappointment. Again, second year, obviously his story is not written, but I just feel like right now with that linebacker position, now let's move on to this defensive line.
Well, let's just say one thing. We would maybe agree. They've addressed depth. offensive line, they've gotten a couple
They
guys.
they have grabbed
The
some guys.
linebackers they picked up, they signed 2 or 3 linebackers. They got the cornerback. Now I think you and I, we didn't even mention him because Elam. I mean, we're not, he's a former first-round pick. We love those,
Right?
but we're not. We didn't even.
They
mention
love their
him.
former
We're not
first-round pick.
expecting a whole lot. So, but they're depth pieces, and that's what that has to be considered. Are they better or worse? Because last year that was the Achilles heel. They had no depth. They lose a guy. We both said it. They did nothing in free agency last year to sign anyone. If you lose one guy, the season was done. So I think the depth part is good, but defensive line, this is where we this is where we disagree a little bit, or maybe we agree. But where are you looking? Because you said the defensive line, so you kind of helped me out. You helped me out, but go ahead.
So if we're going defensive line, all right, I will say that as far as pure pass rusher, as far as a pass rushing presence, I will say we're a better pass rushing team.
Yeah.
I will say when it comes to run stopping and run defense, I will say we are worse. I'm going to be honest with you. When I look at this team, I feel like that when it is all said and done at the end of the year, this team is going to rank bottom 5 in run defense in the NFL this year. I think that if we don't, there was guys out there that they could have went out and grabbed. I'm still furious that they didn't go grab Calais Campbell. There was guys out there run guys that you could plug up the middle. And they didn't get deeper there at that defensive tackle position. They lost Linval Joseph. I'm not saying that he was some great guy or whatever. Carlos Watkins, again, not saying that, but depth. They lost guys, didn't replace guys, didn't replace them with any depth guys. I know they got Solomon Thomas. He has been god awful versus the run, though. That's the area he struggles the most. I'm not looking at him to answer any prayers. Mozzie Smith, we're sitting there hoping and praying that he continues to develop into something, but he's shown nothing. I just look at this defense and I think that this team's going to be giving up 150 yards a game on the ground. I think that they're going to be terrible against run defense, and I think the defensive line is part of it. And here's the thing. Micah Parsons is a great pass rusher, but what has been the key to many of these teams, I've seen it time and time again. I remember when I was in denial because I had a buddy of mine who was a 49ers fan who said, they're not scared of Micah. They're going to run right at him. And every single team runs right at Micah Parsons. Green Bay Packers did it in the playoffs. San Francisco 49ers did it both rounds of the playoffs. Teams run to Micah's side because he is so aggressive off the rush. They get him every time. So DeMarcus Lawrence, while I think that it was time to move on from DeMarcus Lawrence, where we're going to notice a drop-off is in the run stopping, because DeMarcus Lawrence still, even at this stage in his career, was a very good run stopper. And that's what he was known for. And that's what in essence, we kind of, we lost one of our better run stoppers on that defensive line by letting him go. And we brought in a guy who's going to be a good pass rusher, and Fowler. He's a good pass rusher, but he's not a great run stopper. He's not known for being a run stopper. He's also kind of a rental guy. Now that's neither here nor there because he's just kind of a one-year guy. But right now I'm looking across this entire defense, defensive line and linebackers. I'm trying to find who my guy that excels at run stopping in. Who's my guy that's going to stop the run? Who's the guy that's going to stop the bleeding? Because we saw it last year. This team couldn't stop the run, and I feel that they've got worse. So how are they going to shore that up and be able to stop the run when you lost depth and lost talent? So I don't see it. And which is why I think this team got worse, because I think what's going to happen is I think our offense has the capability to be possibly at the end of the year, I would say a top 10 offense. I'm not going to say top 5. I'm going to say top 10 offense. But I'm going to say that our defense could end up being 25th or lower. I think overall defense, I think this defense will be terrible. I think the offense is going to have to win in spite of the defense in every single game that they're in. And I think a lot of it's going to be because teams are going to bully us around and just run the ball on us whenever they want. And that, to me, is discouraging, because unless this team proves me wrong and turns to be into something that I think that they aren't, I just don't see us stopping the run at all.
Do you think scheme could have anything to do with it, or do you? And I'm just asking you because I mean, you got Eberflus, or do you think we just don't have the talent?
I just don't think we have the talent.
Yeah.
I don't think the personnel's there. I think that Eberflus, unfortunately, I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I really do. I just don't see how you change your scheme enough to overcome the talent void, because I just feel like almost every single player, and again, I'm not going to lean so heavily on the PFF grades. I'm not going to lean, but if you looked up every single one of those players on that defensive line and linebacker, look every single one up, they all are better at pass rush than they are at run stopping. I wish we could have got a couple guys that were better at run stopping than pass rush. We know we're going to be able to get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
But again, we also have a different defense, different defensive coordinator. So a different philosophy. Are we going to be as aggressive blitzing the quarterback, getting after the quarterback? Are we going to be as aggressive? I don't know. Right. But that's where this defense is every single one of them is better at pass rush than run stopping. So I just don't see where that comes into play and how they get significantly better.
Yeah. And Stephen, excellent point. I agree 100%. I mean, the thing that I think hurts this team is discipline. To me, is number one. I mean, you have a lot of individuals, right? They're individuals not playing for the stats, not playing for the scheme, and not playing for the man next to you. And I mean, and again, say it again.
I'll say this though, not to interrupt you though. I'll say this though. What were we all pounding our chest about though when DQ went out the door and Mike Zimmer brought in? Was that Mike Zimmer was a disciplinarian, right?
Yeah.
So I mean the defense did not get better under Zimmer, and I don't think that's because Zimmer is not a disciplinarian. So look at where Zimmer has gone. I mean, he's a well-respected defensive coordinator. I don't necessarily think so much that it's the discipline. I think this team lacks the talent to stop the run. You're talking about an Osa Odigizua who struggles to stop the run. He's a guy you've got. Yes, he's a good pass rusher. He can cause havoc up the middle, but he's not a great run stopper. He struggled in that. And who did you put next to him? We don't have somebody next to him. Now, will we maybe pick somebody up in the draft?
I'm not really hopeful. D tackle.
There's some D tackles. I'm just not hopeful enough that we're going to get one that's going to make that big of a difference unless we go out and address something in free agency. Now, that's the other thing too. We have money out there to spend in free agency. There's still some guys out there that we can go that I think can make this team better. The problem to me is, why weren't the Cowboys more aggressive knowing that this is a problem? It's just like last year. Last year we went into the season knowing the running back was a problem. Run game was a problem, right? We knew that. So we're like, why didn't we go out and get Derrick Henry? Why didn't we go out and upgrade? There was all these free agent running backs. Okay. Well, this year it's kind of the same, but with the defensive tackle position. I'm glad that we retained Osa. Okay. But why didn't we get somebody to play next to him that's going to play that, that's going to play off of that and be a run stopper, that's going to assist him, help him out a little bit better, maybe take some of that pressure, maybe take some of them doubles off of him and get, so where they can clog that lane and stop the run, because we don't have that right now. So now we're going into the season with this weakness. It's a glaring weakness that teams know going in. This Cowboys team has not proven that they can stop the run. Doesn't look like they have the personnel to stop the run. So, I mean, me and you, we sat there at that Baltimore game, and all they did was just run, run. And it was first down, first and second and 4, third and 1. It was just boom, boom, big chunk plays. And it was pretty much like that all year. We were just like, when teams wanted to run, they imposed their will on this Cowboys team. And I just don't see where that changed at all. I just feel like it got worse. And I think the run defense is going to be very bad this year. Bad.
Yeah. I can't give you a strong argument on it. I think Eberflus, I think one of the things that Steven kind of stole my thunder, because I was going to say, Zimmer, the problem with Zimmer is, he came out and he said that he tried to keep everything kind of the same, didn't want to rock the boat, wish he would have done it differently and this and that. But that's neither here nor there. Can't look back. And and you had a lot of coaches, which we're going to get into the coaching thing part of it too, is you had a lot of guys on 1-year contracts, and it was bad from the start. Like last season, this is why I guess where I'm saying I think they're going to be better. Last season was just a shit show from the start, from top to bottom. It was. I mean, from the lack of what the ownership and general manager did in offseason, not either giving, McCarthy an extension or just moving on from him. The whole CD Lamb drag out, and we can, Parsons, we'll see where that takes us this year. Just every Dak getting hurt, the pileup of injuries. That last season to me, it was just, I wish you could just put it in the bank and forget about it. That's why I think the Cowboys are going to be better, because they were more active. Now, were they the free agents that you like? Maybe not. Were they the free agents that but I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch Titan football, so I know your dog and Murray. I don't know how much you watch him. I didn't watch him. We didn't play the Titans. I don't know. He could be good and just around shit that makes him look like shit. I don't know. So I've listened to some of these guys that break down film. I respect him, and they seem to think that he's good. And when I mean good, I mean solid. And that's what I kept saying is we got enough superstar. I just need solid football players. So they've made moves in areas that I felt were weaknesses, and they've addressed them. Now, did they address it enough? Probably D tackle and cornerback are my two, which I guess are pretty important, right? The two most pretty important spots. I don't know if they addressed them enough. And I don't think the draft, unless they got a cornerback, like you said, in the second round or higher, I don't know if they're going to get a starting cornerback in the draft in the 5th round, 4th round, if they trade it up or whatever. So I think they put themselves in a little bit of a bind. I think D tackle is an area that they can get in the draft. I mean, you've done a lot of mock drafts. I've done some. D tackle seems to be sitting there for them, and big guys run, good run grades if you're looking at it. So I think the easiest position to fix, I know as crazy as it sounds, is I think D tackle, because go get that fat guy at Florida and just tell him to stand straight. You know what I mean? He's 400 and something pounds, and he's like that old Sam Adams used to be. But I think cornerback, to me, overall defense, cornerback is probably what keeps me up at night right now.
Yeah. Well, and so here's where I'm going to move to kind of my closing arguments here, because I feel that there's been a lot of Cowboys Nation that is really, they want to jump in. They want to be able to drink the Kool-Aid, right? We all do. None of us want to go into the season thinking that the season's over before it started, right? But here's where the reality check comes in for fans who are out there saying, you know what? The draft is going to push us over. It's going to make us better. Because right now, like I said, where my arguments have landed, I would have us being worse. I don't have us being improved better, which means that we're not going to compete with the elite teams in the NFC, which means that, you're going to be fighting maybe for a wild card berth with this team. So when you look to the draft, right, people are like, well, we're going to get our guys in the draft. Now, the Cowboys have done a really good job with drafting young guys and then developing them. But when we're talking about right now at this point in the season, where we at right now, I feel that the Cowboys are right now. I feel they're 4 players, impact players away from being a team that I could look at and say, you know what, I feel really good about this team right now, because I feel like they've got the players to do it. In any given draft that we have had over the last, and I'm just looking here, I've got 7 seasons. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to go over real quick. I won't name all the players. You're lucky to get 2 players who are impact players in the same year. You're lucky to get that. And I don't see that format changing for the Cowboys. And when I say impact players, I'm talking about guys who come in that play significant snaps that really just kind of, come out and they hold their own first round. So last year, right, the only guy out of the guys that we drafted, and I'm going to read the top 4 guys. You've got Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Nealon, Cooper Beebe, Maurice Leafau, and I'll go Kalen Carson. The only significant guy that played significant snaps that really made a difference on this team is Cooper Beebe. Tyler Guyton didn't do that, struggled heavily. Marshawn Nealon, didn't really get to see him a whole lot, and I'm not saying that they're what people need to understand. I'm not trying to say that those guys are bums. Marshawn Nealon, I think, is definitely got talent. I think Leofau showed some flashes. They didn't make significant impacts. They didn't make this team better, right?
Mhm.
They showed that they might have something in the future. You look at the year before, it was Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker, DeMario Overshone, William Fahoko, Asim Richards, Eric Scott, Deuce Vaughn, and Jalen Brooks. None of those guys made an impact. Overshone didn't play because he was injured that year. He injured himself in training camp. 0 impact playmakers that year when we drafted. 0, right? You look at the year before, you had Tyler Smith, Sam Williams, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson, Matt Waletzko, and Deron Bland. Pretty decent draft right there, but out of that draft, you got 2 guys. You got Tyler Smith that played significant snaps. You got Deron Bland. Jake Ferguson, he had 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. He wasn't.
Schultz, I think, there.
It wasn't. You had Schultz playing the majority, so you had 2 guys that you could say made that team better and impacted that team. You go back to 2021, that was the Micah Parsons draft. You had Micah Parsons. Guess what we followed that up with? Kelvin Joseph. How'd that work out? And you got Osa Odigizua. Now, I would say that Osa played well.
Right. Yeah.
He played pretty well. So I would say you could argue and say they had 2 of the guys, but he did only start 12 games, whereas Micah Parsons started every single game. Now, 2020 is where we had our really good one. That's where we went. We drafted 17th. We had CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs. You got 2 guys there that made your team. That's the kind of draft we need. We need a 1 and we need a 2. About 2019, 0 guys. Now, we didn't have a first-round pick that year, so I'm going to just kind of wipe that one out. I'm not even going to mention any of the guys. And then if we go back to 2018, you had Leighton Vander Esch, Connor Williams, and Michael Gallup. Out of those guys, really, Leighton Vander Esch was probably the guy that made your biggest impact. Connor Williams, he did play quite a few games, so he wasn't bad, but he had a lot of penalties. He had about 8 penalties that year, which was not great. So the thing is, in any draft, looking over all those drafts, to sit here and think that we're going to get 3 guys that are going to come out, that's a long shot. We're going to be lucky. You'll be lucky if you get 2.
It is, but what I would say is, what are your priority needs? Right? We talked about wide receiver,
and running back.
We talked about running back, right? Cornerback. Those are playmaker positions, right?
They definitely are. Absolutely.
The Cowboys. Every name that you kind of mentioned in there outside of Micah Parsons, for the most part, those aren't positions that you're going to see. I mean, Tyler Smith, yeah, man, he made he had a phenomenal rookie year, and BB did, but you're not seeing that impact on the field. Go look at when they drafted Des Bryant. Go look at when they drafted CeeDee Lamb, like skill position guys. We're not going to talk about Morris Claiborne. We're going to forget about that one. But
or Kelvin Joseph.
or
Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah. So, I mean, this team needs a running back and they need a receiver on offense. And
look at
the NFL and how fast those 2 positions, instant success. Now, you got to hit them, right? I mean,
you got to hit on them.
End up with Rieger or who the other idiots, the guys that the Eagles got. But look at the draft. I mean, London. You had Jefferson. You got Jamar Chase. All these first-round guys, they're usually in that top 12. I mean, for the most part, man, I don't want to say it's bulletproof, but receivers produce quickly now more than ever. And I think running back is the same. And you could do the running back in the 3rd round. I mean, so I think where the Cowboys need impact, I think the positions that they need them are the best to get it out of the draft, if that makes any sense.
I would trust them, honestly. I would trust them more in terms of drafting a wide receiver and a running back that could make a difference this year. What worries me, though, is that does help us at 2 positions of need. What worries me, though, is I don't trust them to get them necessarily an impact, defensive back. Even though they did get Deron Bland late in the round, they found that guy. He was a gem. I will say, I know that Steven had mentioned Israel Mukwamu. I mean, he's shown some potential. And if he continues to grow and develop, maybe he can turn into something. So I'm not going to completely tear down the Cowboys' ability to draft a defensive back. I just will say, I feel like there's a higher potential to miss at that position for defensive back and defensive tackle than it is for them to necessarily miss on a running back or a wide receiver, just because of the fact that if they take that wide receiver in the first round, I agree with you. Those are guys that can come in and I think play right away. You could see it, as well as with these running backs. The wide receivers they're running those pro style offenses in college, which is why you see the quarterbacks come in and succeed so early. And all these quarterbacks that were drafted last year came in, had success right away. Wide receivers, same thing. Running backs, same way. It's a lot of that pro scheme. You don't see a lot of those option teams anymore. You don't see a lot of the I formation guys, stuff like that. So it's a lot of it's more the pro style offense, ready to come in, ready to go. And so you see a lot more success out of it. So I do agree with you. I do think that the running back and the wide receiver can come in right away and make that impact. Where I still have that concern is just with the defensive side of the ball. I don't know where our playmakers are coming there, outside of the guys that we got, which is really right now, in my opinion, just Michael Parsons is our big playmaker there on defense. Overshown, yes, but what's his availability for next year?
Fowler got 10.5 sacks last
I
year.
like Fowler too. I really do. I won't say that I'm not going to sit there and shit on Fowler because I said that I think he's our best defensive pickup so far of the season. I really like Fowler. So I'd say we got a couple guys, but we got the potential to have more playmakers on this offense than we do because I'd say you got quarterback. I'd say you got wide receiver. You'll have a chance to have wide receiver too. And then you could be talking about a running back. And then, hopefully we see a bounce back year from Jake Ferguson, or maybe we see Luke Schoonmaker take that role, that he had last year where he scored, 4 touchdowns. Maybe he continues to grow and maybe we see an emergence of Schoonmaker, whichever one of those guys, I don't really care. But I think tight end position is not going to be bad. I think that'll be pretty good. And I think it gets better if you add a wide receiver too, because then that kind of opens things up for the tight end versus last year where, I felt like tight end was more kind of a security blanket and just not a lot of chemistry and stuff. So we'll see.
We'll see. And it maybe my guy, Jake can follow the path of our quarterback and, end up getting himself breaking the heart of one of those Cavender twins, and maybe that'll get his mind right. But it's hard to blame him. I mean, I see I see him on Instagram, and their videos. I don't know how good they are at basketball, but they're a distraction. There's no doubt about it. I mean, making told Rocky women weaken legs. So I gotta stand by that. But I like Schoonmaker. So no, I agree. I don't know what you guys think. Is it do you agree with Kelly? Do you think this team is worse? Do you agree with me? Is it somewhere in the middle? I think the jury's still out. All fun aside, I think the draft to me has a lot to do with where this team is going to be. And again, the second wave of free agency, because you can get areas. I mean, if there's a position that they could fix quickly, if they wanted to, is defensive tackle. I mean, that is a position, like I said, it's not usually you're not looking for Aaron Donald. You don't need a pass rushing defensive tackle. You need a big dude that's going to hold his own and not let the holes get open for those running backs. And I think they could fix it, but they haven't done it yet. So I have to concede. I think our defense on paper is worse. But I think our offense is going to be better. I don't know if it overcomes the defense. I mean, that's the $1 million question. But I want to give we got our super chat from our man Mark, so I'd be remiss not to show him some love. But he said it's going to be better because Dak. But he, as far as solid free agents impacts, we signed nobody. Many guys they could be, but we did bargain basement again. And,
a lot of guys with potential, a lot of former first round guys. It seems like that's the Dallas Cowboys motto is if that guy was drafted former in the first round, the Cowboys want him because they think they can do something.
Those are the guys that you end up with, right? I mean,
and look, the Cowboys have done.
They're not letting no one go.
They've done some things with him. You look back, they kind of the resurgence of Rolando McClain a while back when they signed him, and he at the time. He was so. I mean, maybe Kenneth Murray can be our Rolando McClain. You know what I mean? So, it's not that I'm saying that these guys can't. It's not that I'm saying these guys. It's just saying I have not seen it yet. And from what I know of these guys and from what from what their past has been, I'm not hanging my hat on them that we got better, because what I saw last year, what I felt that we had last year, I felt it was better. I felt that, with Overshown on the field, with Kendricks on the field, I felt that ultimately was just better, better linebacker play. But we'll see. You know what I mean? That's what we played the season for.
We're gonna see. I don't know if I got Kelly feeling better. I did think you were going to go negative on the offense, so I don't know if that's a win for me. I don't know if it's a win because I thought you were going to go a little negative on the offense. So I don't know if
no. I mean, my worry is it's so the problem here's why I think that we're going to be ultimately worse is because the thing is I think we could be better on offense. I think we have the ability to be better. I still need to see it through the draft and see who we get, and I think we have the ability to be better. My thing is, I think that our defense is going to be so bad that is going to drag the team down, because we've seen those years when we have the Mike Nolan defense. I mean, think about that year. That was a terrible, terrible, terrible year. We're scoring 30-some points a game and we're giving up 35, 38. I feel like that when you cannot stop the run and when you are not physical, then that does not bode well for you moving forward, when you've got teams like the Philadelphia Eagles that are going to run the ball, when you've got teams like the Detroit Lions in the NFC that are going to run the ball, when you've got the Rams with Kyron Williams going to run the ball. You look at all these teams in the NFC, the one thing that they all do is run the ball. They've got running backs. They're going to be running the ball. They're going to be wanting to control the clock. So when they're playing the Cowboys, you better believe that they're going to run it down our throats until we show we can stop them. And until we show we can stop them, teams are going to continue to do that. And I don't see any change from that. I feel like week 1, game 1, whoever it is that we roll out, the first thing they're going to do, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They're
going to test them. It's going to be interesting to see who the first
Absolutely.
game is.
Yeah.
Typically, would they dare put Dallas, Philly Thursday night to open the season? I hope that. I mean, I would prefer that not to happen. I just don't like that Thursday game. But that would make for an interesting way to start the season, because you're going to get your run defense tested real fast. But it's going to be interesting. The draft is it's only two weeks away. I guess
2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today. So a lot of questions are going to be answered with this team and with some that we're going to be playing. I mean, we talked about the schedule that this team has is difficult. I saw the post on Vegas, and you guys know I love Vegas, and I got to talk to Cheech. This bodes well for Kelly in your argument. I was floored. I made a bet with a friend of mine who's a New England Patriot fan. He said that the Patriots are going to win 10 games. So I said, there's no way. I said, let's look at what Vegas says. Vegas has them winning 7.5 games. So I said, well, let's see what Vegas has Dallas winning, and maybe we'll do a little teaser. You might have seen it in the chat. I don't know if you did, but if you did, are you surprised? If not, say I don't know what Vegas said. What do you think?
I don't know what Vegas said, but remember in our group chat the other day, remember in our chat what I told you? I said that I look at this team as an 8-9 win team. I feel like an 8 to 9 win team.
7.5.
There you go.
Which blows my mind.
There you go.
I made a bet, and this is what I did. The Patriots have to win 9.5 because he's so confident. And he gave me 2 the other way. Dallas just has to win 6, but it's my $100 to his 20. That's a fair bet.
That's a fair bet. I think Dallas can win. I think Dallas would win over 6 games. Again, my whole worry is that this defense is going to be very, very, very bad. I think at the end of the year, we're going to be talking about this being one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I'm telling you, if I was able to put money, I'd put money that this defense finishes in the bottom. I think 25th or worse. overall defense. And I think run defense, we'll be bottom of the league. I think we'll probably end up dead last. I really do. I think we'll be 30 to 32 range in run defense. I really do.
We marked the tape, and I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. I would take the over, like anything. Injuries, like
I'd probably take the over as well. I probably would take the over at 7. You said 7.5. I'd probably take that. But like I said the other day, I look at this team as an 8 to 9 win team. I honestly right now don't look at this as a playoff team. I really don't. I don't think this team makes the playoffs. I think they miss it. I think the top 2 teams in our division is Philly and Washington. I think we're coming up third again. I still think New York's going to finish 4th, but I don't look at us as a playoff team, man. And I hope this team proves me wrong. I'd be ecstatic if this team proved me wrong, but I don't see anything that's giving me a ray of sunshine at the end of the tunnel to say, you know what, this team goes on a run, this team goes and it surprises us in the playoffs. Like if we were to be able to eke our way into the playoffs, I think we're at one of those teams that's one and done and probably just gets rolled over by whoever we play in the first round. Not looking, I do. I think it's an 8-9 win team, and I think we missed the playoffs, unfortunately, because of this.
The same in the playoffs, though, so we're used to that.
Yeah, that's true. It is. You know what? But here's the thing. I'm gonna do another shameless plug because I've been doing it before. Obviously, talent means nothing without coaching and without results. But I'm telling you right now, man, I'm bullish on my Texas Tech Red Raiders. So thank God that I have something to look forward to when it comes to football season. Not to say that I'm not looking forward to seeing all of your shining, smiling faces and toasting beers with you guys outside of AT&T Stadium when Cowboys Cave announces its official 3rd tailgate. It gets bigger and bigger every year. I'm going to love chopping it up with you guys. Love seeing you, Mike. Love seeing Cuts. Love seeing Mark, Steve, and everybody that comes down there. But when it comes to actual football on the field, this is the most excited I've been for the Texas Tech Red Raiders in a very long time, man. And again, they gotta reach their potential and they gotta gel and play as a team. But right now, that defensive line is gonna be nasty as hell, man, with some of the additions that they've got. Just nasty.
No, I mean, I've seen, I'm a college guy, and because of you, I follow Texas Tech, and I've seen the portal and what they're doing. It's going to be interesting. I want to ask you one quick question before we wrap up, but I want to give some love again to Mark on the super chat. JJ sticks with his guns. D tackle lose the defensive tackle to Washington is a better pass rush and a run stopper than Osen. No, I don't believe. I don't know if I believe that he cost the same. The guy that the D tackle that Washington
Golson, right?
Yeah. No, I thought they picked up a guy. We didn't try to get Puna was one guy that I wanted at D tackle. But Washington had a worse rush defense.
New York. Golson went to New York.
Yeah, they had a worse rush defense than we know. I think it's the guy that was in I can't remember his name. I think it was the San Francisco guy. I can't remember.
Yeah. God damn it. I know who you're talking about. Was it Hargraves?
Allen? Allen? Yeah. Maybe it was him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I'm not big on Washington. I mean, we'll see. I know Kelly loves Washington. I'm still not.
I don't love them. I don't love them. I do not love them, but I don't love them. But I'm telling you, I called it last year. I said Washington go win 10 games. And they went out.
They won a lot of bullshit games, but they lost. Yeah, Jonathan Allen. They won a lot of bullshit. Thanks, Steven. So let me just ask you this, and we'll wrap it up because Miami's got a really, we play Notre Dame, we play Florida, obviously Florida State. We got a pretty solid schedule. How is the Texas Tech schedule, out of conference? I mean, did they bring anyone in?
They're not really playing anybody. So I'm going to be honest with you, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm sure people, if the tape gets marked, and which all tapes get marked because we're recording it right now, this is live. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Texas Tech can run the table. I really do. I looked at our schedule. I looked at our schedule, man. We really their hardest game that they're going to have, I believe, is against BYU. BYU's got a pretty good team out there. I think BYU will be their hardest game. Outside of BYU, I mean, Oklahoma State. I think they got Arizona State. They got their schedule fares a little bit easier this year than it was last year, because now that we've got 16 teams, they kind of switch up some of the people that we play. I really think Tech could run the table. I think they've got a legit chance. If they put everything together like I think they can, I think that they can go undefeated. I really believe
they're out
that.
of conference schedule. They're not playing Texas, and they're not
Nah,
playing.
they don't have any. Their out of state is weak. It's weak. Sister Mary of the Blind in the first week, and I think Sister Mary's School for the Deaf in week 2. Like, it's pretty weak. It's weak. The whole schedule, really, honestly, they don't really have. I don't know throughout their entire schedule. Now, I don't know that they've released the official top 25, so I can't say that for sure. I think BYU will be in the top 25, but if I had to look at their schedule right now, I don't know that they even play. They may only play one team ranked in the top 25 the whole season, so they probably they should run the table if that's the case. But yeah, I think
Does it worry you they could get screwed?
It does worry me with the strength of schedule. Yes, absolutely. Because I look at the teams that they're playing, and I'm hoping that these teams that are on the schedule actually play better than what they did last year. Because there's a lot of garbage on the schedule from last year. Oklahoma State, Arizona State. Like, Arizona State wasn't bad though. Arizona State
No, they were good.
was pretty good last year. They did lose some significant guys though. They lost Scattaboo from the running back. So maybe they'll be a decent team this year, but. It does worry me a little bit, but I think that because the Big 12 is still considered, technically a power school, even though they've lost a lot of their top performers in football. I think that if Tech ran the table and won the Big 12, I don't think there's any way they'd get left out of the college football playoffs. So,
yeah, I mean, that's what hurt that's why it was hard. Like Miami, they kind of got screwed, but they didn't get screwed because they're scheduled. I mean, the teams that were supposed to be. I mean, you expect Florida to be good. They ended up sucking.
Right.
I mean, they beat them in the swamp, and they had a good out-of-conference schedule, but the ACC was just so bad,
right?
It killed them, and that's why they didn't make the playoffs with 11 wins, and it was hard for me to argue it because they had to, they shouldn't have lost to. They lost to, so it'll be cool, man. But yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out in the cave. And Steven, yes, we are doing our live draft show. We will be doing it. Eugene Lockhart's going to be coming to hang with us. We're going to have some people in. You guys will be letting some people, pop in and out real quick like we did last time. It'll be a chill show. I'm hoping I'm able to drop my first hype video. So if we do the draft show, I might have to pause and, shut the camera off, let you run it, Kelly, so I can drop a hype video if we get someone good. If they draft an O-lineman, I tell you, Kelly, I don't know if I'll kick my TV. I might go viral, just go ahead and just throw the TV on the ground in the cave or something like that. But they better not.
We don't need to draft. We don't need to go offensive lineman. We need to go wide receiver. They need to go wide receiver. I mean, listen. If they were to trade back a little bit and they ended up, because I've seen a lot of people talk about Mario Hampton, and I said, look, if they got him, I'm not going to go crazy and be pissed off over Hampton because I think he'd be a good running back. I think that they could trade back in that scenario, though. I think that they could get Hampton towards the back end of the teams. I really do. I think 16 to 19 range, they could probably still draft him. But I wouldn't be pissed if they draft. But yes, if they draft an offensive lineman again in the first round, I'm not going to be happy. If they drafted an edge rusher, again, I don't think that I don't really want that in the first round either, because I think that you're good right now with the edge rushers. You got Marshawn Nealon, he's going to be in year 2. You've got Fowler, you got Parsons, you got Osa's a good pass rusher. Like, you've got good pass rushers on this squad. What you need is Dak Prescott needs help. CeeDee Lamb needs the Robin to his Batman. Yes. And you need a running back, because the 2 running backs you got right now, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, while good depth pieces, not guys that you're going to want to roll out as your number 1 running back. So, but I do think that if we get a solid running back, I do really like Javonte Williams as a goal line short yardage running back. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns last year to Rico Dowdle's 2. Only had 500 yards, but he did have 4 touchdowns. He's a guy that has got a nose for the end zone, good at short yardage situations, powerful back. Rico Dowdle just was not, got over 1,000 yards, but I credit a lot of the offensive line. He was not a guy he went down very easily after first contact, not a lot of broken tackles, not a guy who you're going to depend on in them short yardage situations. He just was not a guy that you could lean on. So
yeah,
we'll be better at that.
NFL that's shit in 17 years. That's 50
absolutely.
I mean, it's not what it was, but no, definitely. My brother's a Bronco fan, and he talks highly of Williams. He said, he said the numbers don't show, because of injuries, and then he kind of fell out of favor a little bit and this and that. But he's pretty high on him. He said there's a lot of upside. I saw what he did against my Hurricanes, so I still have nightmares over the 221 yards he had against us. It was embarrassing. So I've seen it. So hopefully I'm glad he's on our side. But hey, guys, we appreciate it, man. It was a quick, live show where remote. So hopefully the audio, hopefully the video was good. But we'll be back in the cave next week. We got a great guest. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to do our draft show. So we got 350 of you guys hanging out with us on our platforms, man. Take a minute, hit that thumbs up, man. It helps the channel. It helps all the algorithms, helps all the stuff. And more importantly, hit that subscribe. We're going to have our fan of the month as well. So we got a lot of things going on, guys. So definitely appreciate all the support. We will be back in the cave soon, and we're going to get this thing rolling. Got a lot of good guests. So you guys have a great weekend. Stay out of trouble. We don't want anything happening before the draft, before next week. Kelly, you be good. We don't want nothing out of you. Play your charge. Be good. You're a good guy, right? No issues. Not knocking anyone out lately. We're good.
I'm behaving.
All right. You guys take care. Have a good one, man. We'll see you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.